Hello viewers, so today we are going to look on the major themes that we come across the text Fathers of Nations. So the major themes that we are going to focus on today are poor leadership, corruption, and betrayal. A theme is an idea that recurs in or pervades a work of art or literature. A theme could also be a subject of discussion, meditation, composition, or topic. Moreover, a theme can also be seen as a central idea in a piece of writing or other works of art. Further, in contemporary literary studies, a theme is also seen as a central topic, subject, or message within a narrative or work of art. In addition, most common understanding of theme is an idea or point that is central to a story, along with plot, character, style, and setting. Theme is considered one of the key components of work of art. The following are some of the explored themes in the novel. Poor leadership. Poor leadership is one of the main themes in the novel. The African leaders are portrayed as people who cannot give a sense of direction to their countries. Instead, they are shown as flawed human beings who cannot rise to the challenges of their times. There are people experimenting in the various ideological positions originating from different places. They were to discuss way Omega but found nowhere, but Alpha finds its way on the agenda and it's passed as a way forward. The book goes ahead to portray how dysfunctional most African countries are. The leadership in the African continent is poor, insincere, and out of touch with the happenings on the ground. The so-called presidents at the summit have very little share. The confusion is too much and the agendas not clear. No wonder the summit ends in disarray. Unfortunately, in their hopelessness, the citizens continue to entertain a leadership that is blind to their plight. The fathers of nations are meeting at Banjul, which is in Gambia, just to fulfill their calendar needs. Their meeting is jumbled up and predetermined by a few of them who hold the meeting hostage. Mistrust among the president is rife. Fight breaks out after a disagreement in the summit. The chair of the summit seems to be quite subjective. He does not give room to dissenting voices from summiters such as Minister T. Zinto. In the eyes of a seer, Professor Kimani's wife, poor leadership has translated to poor roads, which in the long run have aggravated accidents. His only daughter dies through an accident. Consequently, desperation sets in, leading to a divorce. The leader of Comrade Melusi's group is sacked because of coming from the Ndebele tribe, while the country's leader comes from the populous Shona. In Zimbabwe, all those from the southern side, which is known as Ndebele, whom the leader construes and perceives to be against the government, are whipped out. Pastor Chineke Chiamaka is arrested and put in police custody for preaching about the government's failure to deal with the issues bedeviling the nation. When he is later on released, he is banned from preaching. The heads of state picked President Bangura, who had said he would not look at two documents, as chairman of a committee that is to look at the documents and provide direction. Corruption. Vitta also shares that corruption is endemic in Africa. The vice has disastrous effects on the continent's economies. It also affects the cohesion of communities and social contracts, which are vital pillars for building nations. Wars and organized criminal networks distract the development of some countries. The networks control all the political and economic opportunities. Corruption is a pandemic in African countries. Bribery is the order of the day in Banjul, Gambia. Miss Fiona Mackenzie is stopped at Act number 22. The police demand a bribe from her driver, an unemployed graduate. Mr. Tad Longway, in his submission to Dr. Afolabi, says that Africa in its present state has two new arrivals, which are corruption and impunity. This affirms that corruption is a vice that is rampant in Africa, almost the oxygen of the African countries. In the elections held in Zimbabwe, Comrade Milusi and all other candidates together garner 1% of the total votes cast, while the ruler gets 99%. After all the challenges that precede the elections, thereby negatively painting the ruler and his government as unpopular. Additionally, it points to some unorthodox means that must have been used to get 99% of the votes cast, rigging. The third Longway, apart from clearing bills for their meals, he also gives Comrade Milusi a stack of American dollars and thereafter gives him a document titled Path Alpha. This gift could be construed as a means to wield influence on his decision. Tad Longway offers to buy a drink for Miss Fiona Mackenzie, a journalist with Voice of Africa. This is the first time they are meeting at the Seamount Hotel. The offer is meant to influence what Fiona will report about Path Alpha, which is being propagated by Mr. Tad Longway. Path Alpha is not on the summit's agenda. Mr. Tad Longway and his accomplice, through Dr. Afolabi, wants it on the agenda of the summit. The means through which the proposal of Path Alpha will find itself on the agenda must be fraudulent and full of coercion. Dr. Afolabi thanks Nick Sentinel for having given him the tip of the trick that enables him put Path Alpha on the summit's agenda. The trick in its exploration must be the coercion means that smells corruption. The method used to reach the decision of settling for Path Alpha or Ray Omega is a method that is not very clear. The method attracts so many questions and petitions. It also sounds to be said to have predetermined results. This gives credit to the feeling that there must have been schemes and mechanizations to reach this predetermined outcome. Betrayal. To some extent, Dr. Afolabi betrays the heads of state. He had been invited to provide a piece of advice on Way Omega's strategy. Little are the heads of state aware that he is at the center of the rival group, which is Path Alpha. He influences the introduction of Path Alpha on the agenda and also determines the outcome of the method committee. The leader of Libya betrays Engineer Tahir. When Engineer Saif Tahir came back from Paris, the leader of Libya was his darling, especially after coming up with the Feast of Allah and supported it fully. After some time, the leader does away with this outfit, and this sets him against Engineer Saif Tahir. The leadership, or professionals and freedom fighters, have been betrayed by the leadership of the continent. All the four men across Africa, that is Professor Kimani, Comrade Milusi, Pastor Chiamaka, and Engineer Tahir, after doing a lot for their mother countries, that is Kenya, Zimbabwe, Nigeria, and Libya respectively, were and are still neglected. They are languishing in poverty and untold suffering. They have been left on their own. The image readers also get of African leaders is that of a coalition of confused and manipulated people. They have suppressed the voices of the civilians who are mere spectators as leaders destroy their source of livelihood. The book is a bold portrayal of post-colonial African countries. It is a continent where the most learned are impoverished because society doesn't value knowledge. Instead, it cherishes ignorance and politicians. African leaders, the so-called fathers of nations, have betrayed the ordinary people. They are in the offices with the mandate of taking care of the populace, but tragically, this is not the case. The ruler in Zimbabwe betrays Comrade Melusi, whom they fought the white man with. When Zimbabwe gains her independence, the ruler does not remember to appoint Comrade Melusi a minister. Instead, he only focuses on his Shona people and any dissenting voice silenced. Newborn Walomu betrays Professor Kimani, his former colleague at the university, after he marries Asiya, Professor Kimani's wife. Asiya betrays Professor Kimani, who is her husband. The predicament the husband gets himself in is not his making. Professors at the University of Nairobi earn peanuts compared to the Member of Parliament. Secondly, it isn't the making for their car to be grounded to necessitate their only daughter to travel using public means and get involved in a grisly road accident. Rather, it is the economic status of the good professor that brings about this challenge. The Yoruba culture betrays Dr. Afolabi. There could have been a better engagement between the family and Dr. Afolabi before Nimbo was dropped at Dr. Afolabi's place as a second wife, for this brings about divorce between Dr. Afolabi and Pamela, who was his wife. Pamela betrays Dr. Afolabi. She does not listen to him. Instead, he hurriedly opts out of marriage and goes back to Boston, only to call after a week to tell him she had filed for a divorce.